Christoph Ruhl is our guest host this morning. He is a senior fellow at the Harvard Kennedy School and Center for Global Energy Policy at Columbia University. Mr. Ruhl, good morning.
Good morning.
You spent some time in America. We're going into an election cycle. We have a situation, the killing of Soleimani, which Bloomberg's.com story this morning says leaves Trump totally unpredictable. Is that a fair analytic of the house of politics in the White House at the moment?
Yes, but it doesn't lead you very far in what's next. So it certainly is fair to say that this came as a surprise to everyone, including by all reactions to Iran. Certainly fair to say that this hit a target on a level which wasn't attacked before. In the history of the conflict since '79 between the US and Iran, I don't think there was ever the elimination of a high-level state actor in the game. Not a scientist, not a terrorist, but a state actor. So that's a new level. But then you have to ask what's at stake here, because now what is Iran supposed to do? That keeps markets in tension. And it's very hard to see what they actually can do, because that's what people mean with asymmetric warfare. They are technologically inferior. They cannot strike back on the same level. They cannot do a similar thing. They can do more of what we have seen, threatening ships, storming embassies, doing things like that. But they're walking a tightrope. That's the first observation. If they do too much, they will face consequences. And they must be more worried about these consequences now than before, when they were just like probing the waters all the time and didn't get any real resistance from the US over the last few months. And secondly, you have to ask, what's the price here? When you talk about the periphery, Syria is more or less gone the way it has gone. The US is out there. Lebanon is a small country with a lot of problems, but costs a lot of money to fix. That's not a comparative advantage of Iran. The price here is Iraq.
Yeah.
And people have short memories. They forget that it was only in 2012 that the Iraqi government had told the Americans to leave.
I mean,
and then asked them back in 2014 because of ISIS.
I mean, let's break down again in terms of what is at stake from the commodities perspective as well, because we saw oil jump to the highest level intraday since the attacks on some of the Saudi oil facilities. GTV Go, for the context on Iranian oil production, which has already been coming down, is that perhaps another piece of evidence that would lend to the argument that Iran will tread cautiously because revenues have already crumbled?
Iran will tread cautiously in terms of what they do in their physical response terms, and they will take their time. And they're very rational. They will not risk, wreckage in their own country by air retaliation or attacks through the air. But Iran will also react strategically, and the strategic target here has to be Iraq. Iraq is the 5th biggest oil producer on the planet. It's a country where you had seen huge demonstrations against the government, against corruption, against the government's tendency to cooperate with Iran. These demonstrations have been crushed with the help of the person who has just been killed. And what we are seeing here will be another attempt, I think, over the longer, medium term, to get the Iraqi government to say goodbye to the US forces after ISIS has been crushed. That would be a big strategic long-term advantage for Iran, and that's what they will have to go after.